You're cleaning out your drawers, maybe you're rifling through some old coins that have been tucked away for ages, and then, bam, you stumble upon an old Abraham Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. Most people would think, just another penny, right? But what if I told you that little penny could actually be worth millions? Yup, you heard that right, millions. Stick around because today, we're diving into the world of the 1982 D mint mark Lincoln penny and why it's a true hidden treasure. Let's just say, you'll want to check your pockets and your coin jars after watching this video. Alright, let's break this down. You've probably seen a million Abraham Lincoln pennies over your lifetime. They're pretty common, right? They've been circulating since 1909, after all. But the 1982 D Mint Mark penny? Well, that's where things get interesting. You see, 1982 was a major year for pennies. That's the year the U.S. Treasury switched the composition of pennies from 95% copper to mostly zinc, with just a thin copper coating. The change was supposed to save money, but here's the kicker. Some of those pennies didn't get the memo. A few lucky ones were struck with a very rare, copper-filled mixture. These were the ones that became the holy grail of coin collectors to SO. What makes the 1982 D Mint Mark penny so valuable? Here's the deal. The real jackpot comes from the rare variety where the penny is actually 95% copper, not the zinc blend. But here's the twist. You can't just look at it and say, oh, that's copper. You need a keen eye. And of course, some scientific know-how to figure out if your penny's one of those ultra-rare ones. Now, let me tell you a funny little story. A while back, I found myself going through a box of old coins my grandma had left me. I was thinking, hey, maybe I've got a few collector's items here. I found a random 1982 penny, and I thought, this could be it. This could be the big one. So, I did what any curious person would do. I got out my magnifying glass and started squinting at that penny like it was the most important thing in the world. Turns out, it wasn't the rare copper one, sadly. But I'm not giving up hope. You just never know when the right penny will show up. Moral of the story? Always check your pennies. Folks, you might have a fortune in your hands without even knowing it. But how exactly can you tell if you've got a valuable 1982 D penny on your hands? Well, first things first, let's talk about the obvious stuff. The mint mark. The 1982 penny with a D mint mark was made at the Denver Mint. If you're looking at your penny and it's got that mint mark right below Lincoln's bust, that's a good start. Now, you're going to need to do a little more investigation. If you have a copper-filled 1982 D penny, it's worth a lot more than just its face value. In fact, some of these rare pennies can go for upwards of $1 million at auction. Yeah, you read that right, $1 million. Those pennies are like the unicorns of the coin world, so don't be surprised if you don't stumble upon one just by chance. But here's the thing. Even if your penny isn't worth $1 million, it could still be worth a decent chunk of change. The copper pennies from that era are worth more than face value because of the material alone. And if you've got one that's in near mint condition, your penny could be worth a lot more than you think. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, but how do I know if mine's the one? The first thing to do is check its weight. A regular 1982 penny that's mostly zinc will weigh around 2.5 grams. But the copper version weighs about 3.11 grams. So grab a scale. And if you find that yours is on the heavier side, congratulations, you might have something special. Of course, to really verify, you'll need to take it to an expert or get it tested. But that's a great first step. Here's a quick tip for you. If you're lucky enough to find a rare 1982 D copper penny, get it authenticated and graded. This will increase its value even more, especially if it's in top condition SO. What do you think? Do you have a few pennies lying around that might be worth more than you thought? The 1982 D Mint Mark penny is a great example of how the smallest coin can hide the biggest surprises. If you haven't checked your old pennies in a while, now's the time to do it. And who knows? You could be sitting on a literal gold mine. Before I wrap this up, here's the deal. If you love hearing about coins worth money, strategies for finding hidden treasures, and all things numismatics, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next time I uncover another gem that could make you a small fortune. So, go ahead and hit subscribe and keep your eyes peeled for those rare finds. Who knows? Your next big break could be hiding in your coin jar. Hey, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters. Have you ever found a coin lying around in your drawer or under your couch cushions and thought, could this be worth something? Well, if you've ever come across a 1952 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, stick around because you might be sitting on a literal gold mine, or at least a penny worth more than, well, a penny. In this video, we're diving into the crazy world of the 1952 penny and why it could be worth millions. Yes, you heard me right, millions. Let's get into it. All right, let's break it down. So, you've probably heard of rare coins going for big bucks, but I bet you didn't know that something as seemingly ordinary as a penny could fetch a fortune, especially the 1952 penny. Now, before you start diving into every coin jar in your house, let me give you a little bit of the backstory. In 1952, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln pennies with a S mint mark, indicating they were minted in San Francisco. Most of these pennies are worth, a penny. But here's where things get interesting. The 1952 penny, due to a few factors like mintage numbers and a unique error, can be worth a whole lot more. We're talking $100,000 and beyond. If you've got the right condition and if it's been well preserved over the years. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, for starters, in 1952, the mint produced a whopping 28 million of these pennies, which sounds like a lot, right? But you've got to remember, many of them were used, lost, and even melted down over time. So finding one in great condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And those that do exist in pristine condition, that's when the value starts skyrocketing. But here's where it gets wild. Because some 1952 pennies have been known to go for millions at auction, especially if they have a rare error. A small number of these pennies have been found with double die errors, meaning the design was stamped more than once, creating a slight overlap of the image. This little mistake can make the coin incredibly rare and even more valuable. Imagine holding something that's been mistaken for a printing error, and now it's worth more than your house. Here's a funny personal story for you. I remember the first time I found a coin that I thought could be worth something. It was a random penny I found while cleaning out a drawer. I was convinced it was a rare 1943 copper penny, which, if true, could be worth a small fortune. I did all the research, got so excited, and then realized, yep, it was just a regular penny. Total letdown. But hey, at least I learned a valuable lesson about checking for authenticity. And who knows, maybe that 1952 penny will be your lucky find. But don't get too excited just yet. If you're hoping that just any 1952 penny is going to make you a millionaire, pump the brakes a bit. Coin condition is crucial when it comes to value. A penny that's been sitting in a jar for decades with scratches, dirt, or rust isn't going to net you much more than its face value. But if you have one in uncirculated condition, and maybe even with that double die error, well, you could be holding on to a small fortune. So, let's talk about how to identify a 1952 penny that could be worth big money. The first step is always to check the mint mark. Look for the small S right under the year. Then, closely inspect the condition. Coins that are graded in excellent condition, without major wear or damage, will obviously fetch a higher price. You'll also want to make sure there's no damage from cleaning, which can actually decrease a coin's value. Trust me, you don't want to scrub away what could be your future retirement fund. And if you think this is all about luck, well, it's not. There are tons of collectors out there scouring the market, auctions, and even garage sales, looking for these hidden treasures. So, if you do come across a 1952 penny, get it evaluated by a professional, because you just never know. It could be your ticket to a new car, a vacation, or even paying off those student loans. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, now that you know how much the 1952 penny can be worth, it's time to take a good look at those pennies you've been tossing aside. Who knows? You might be sitting on the next big coin discovery. But remember, it's all about the condition, the rarity, and those special little minting errors. So, get out there, check your change, check your old coins, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find that $1,000,000 penny. And if you enjoyed this little treasure hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more coin tips, tricks, and the latest news on what's hot in the coin market. If you want to keep learning about valuable coins, strategies for selling them, or maybe even find out if you're rich without knowing it, I've got you covered. The one you found in your couch cushions, or maybe in your kid's piggy bank, and you thought, it's just a penny. What's the worst that could happen? Well, brace yourselves because this penny, a 2019 Abraham Lincoln penny, might just be the treasure you didn't know you had. And if it's the right kind of penny, it could be worth, hold for dramatic pause, millions of dollars. Yeah, you heard me right. Millions. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at every penny in your pocket like it's a golden ticket to the vault. Now, before you start running around your house screaming, "I'm rich," let's clear up a few things. We're talking about the 2019 Abraham Lincoln penny that's missing one crucial detail: the mint mark. No mint mark, no mint mark. Now, you might be thinking, what's so special about that? Well, my friend, this is where the story gets interesting. So, in 2019, the US Mint had this grand plan. Normally, they stamp pennies with a little mint mark to tell you where they were made, either in Philly, Denver, or San Francisco. But for some reason, a small batch of pennies from 2019 didn't get that mint mark. It was like the mint decided, hey, let's give the world a tiny coin mystery just to keep everyone on their toes. And guess what? That missing mint mark, my friends, turned these pennies into rare collector's items. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, right. How could a penny possibly be worth that much? And here's the thing. It's rare. Really rare. I'm talking about a handful of these missing mint mark pennies floating around out there in the wild. And when something's rare, it automatically becomes valuable. Like finding a single sock that doesn't get lost in the laundry. That's a real treasure right there. Here's the kicker. These 2019 no mint mark pennies have been sold at auctions for prices so high they'll make your head spin. Some of them have gone for millions of dollars. We're talking about a coin that was supposed to be worth 1 cent, but now is worth, well, let's just say, your local coffee shop's next 10 years of sales. Now, hold on, before you head over to eBay and start listing every penny you find. Not all 2019 pennies without mint marks are worth a fortune. There's a lot of factors that go into determining how much these coins are worth, like condition, authenticity, and whether it's been professionally graded. So don't get too ahead of yourself. But if you find one of these puppies in mint condition and you get it verified, you could be looking at some serious cash in your pocket. Let me share a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was going through a box of old coins I inherited from my grandmother. I found this beat-up old penny. It was bent, covered in dirt, and looked like it had been through a war. Honestly, it looked like it belonged in the bottom of a wishing well somewhere. But I decided to hang on to it, and just for fun, I took it to a coin dealer. Turns out it wasn't just any old penny. It was a rare one. Nothing like the 2019 mystery penny, but still, it was worth a lot more than I'd ever imagined. And that got me thinking. If I'd thrown that penny out, I would have never known. So, the moral of the story is, never throw away your pennies. Who knows, one might just make you a millionaire. So, before you go diving into every penny jar and checking under your couch cushions, keep this in mind. Not every 2019 penny without a mint mark is going to make you rich. But if you do find one of these rare coins, you could be holding on to a piece of history and possibly a small fortune. If you think you've found a potential gold mine, don't just rush to sell it. Have it appraised, get it graded, and see what it's worth in today's market. Remember, a rare coin is only as valuable as the market says it is, and it's always best to do your research before you cash in. If you're loving these coin tips and want to hear more about how to spot rare coins that are worth a fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll get all the latest strategies on what to look for in your pocket change, plus other neat tricks on how to make a little extra cash from your collection. Who knows, the next video might just make you a coin connoisseur and a millionaire. Don't miss out. So, go ahead, check those pennies, and as always, happy hunting. See you in the next video. Now, let's get to it. You may have heard about rare coins that are worth a fortune, but did you know that there's a specific penny from the year 2000 that could land you a small fortune? If you find it, of course. It's the 2000 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and it's making waves in the numismatic world. And here's the thing, it's not just any old penny. You see, back in the year 2000, the US Mint was printing billions of pennies. But there's one tiny, elusive detail that makes this penny so special. It has an O mint mark. Most pennies have a little D or S on them, depending on whether they were made in Denver or San Francisco. But some pennies from the year 2000, Well, they just don't have that mint mark, and that tiny difference is what makes them so sought after. See, here's where it gets wild. This little no mint mark glitch? It's a mistake, and like most mistakes, it's worth a lot more than expected. In fact, these coins can sell for upwards of $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny that may have slipped through your fingers can be worth millions of dollars. And not just a generic 2000 penny, only a select few of them that escaped with no mint mark. I remember the first time I came across one of these little guys. I was at a coffee shop, digging through my change after buying a latte. You know, the usual. Picking up the pennies, trying not to look too weird while counting them. I threw a few into my pocket, and as luck would have it, one of them was a 2000 no mint mark penny. I didn't think much of it at the time, just another penny to add to my jar. I mean, come on, who looks twice at a penny? Fast forward a few months, I'm researching coins for a video, and I stumble across this bad boy. I think to myself, wait a minute, that's my penny. I checked, and sure enough, I had one of these rare, mint error pennies sitting in my drawer. I couldn't believe it. That penny, which I almost tossed aside, could have been worth, well, let's just say I could have retired from my YouTube gig. Okay, but how do you actually spot a 2000 no mint mark penny? Here's the deal. First, you need to check the date. That's a no-brainer. But the real trick is checking the mint mark, or lack of it, right beneath the year. If you can't find the mint mark and you've got a 2000 penny, you might be holding onto a gold mine. The pennies that made it out of the mint without a mint mark are so rare that coin collectors and investors will pay top dollar for them. And I'm not talking about the kind of big money where you might get $10 for an old coin you find in your backyard. I mean serious money. A 2000 no mint mark penny could fetch hundreds of thousands, even millions, depending on its condition. So, that penny you have just lying around could make you a small fortune if you know what to look for. So, now you might be asking yourself, how do I find one of these? Where do I even begin? Well, folks, the answer isn't just in looking through your coin jar. You might find a lot of standard pennies, but it's about knowing the difference. And it's also about patience. Sometimes, rare finds are hidden in plain sight. All right, I hope that was as mind-blowing for you as it was for me when I first learned about these pennies. Who knew that such a small mistake could lead to such a huge payoff, right? But before you start rifling through every penny you own, remember, not every 2000 penny is a hidden treasure. But if you find one of these rare no mint mark beauties, well, it might be time to start looking for that yacht. If you want more tips on coins that could be worth a small fortune, make sure you subscribe. I've got a ton more coin strategies, insider info, and tips coming your way. You never know. Your next coin find could be worth a lot more than you think. So hit that subscribe button and let's get rich together. Or at least, semi-rich, like I can quit my day job rich. We'll take what we can get. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep checking those coins, because you never know when you'll find the next big thing. Hey there, coin lovers. Did you know that a single penny from 1971 with the right mint mark could be worth, wait for it, millions? Yeah, you heard me right. It's not a typo, and it's not some coin flipping joke. In fact, that humble little penny sitting in your jar could be the jackpot you've been waiting for. Stick around, because today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1971 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's creating waves in the market. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get into it. All right, let's start with the basics. Most of us think of pennies as pocket change, right? Maybe you find one on the sidewalk and just toss it in your jar, thinking, meh, it's just a penny. But here's the kicker. Not all pennies are created equal. Some pennies, especially ones from specific years and with specific mint marks, can actually be worth a lot more than their face value. Now, let's talk about the 1971 penny. We're not talking about just any penny here. We're specifically looking for one with the S mint mark. You might be wondering, what's the big deal about the 1971 penny? Well, hold on to your wallet, because this is where it gets interesting. The 1971 mint mark penny was produced at the San Francisco Mint, and while most of these pennies are worth just 1 cent, there's a very rare and very valuable version of this coin. You see, some of these pennies were accidentally struck with a double die error. Basically, the coin was stamped twice, creating a distinctive and rare look. This little mistake turns an average penny into a highly sought-after collectible, with some of these double-die errors selling for upwards of $1 million. Yes, I said a million. But before you get too excited, don't start rifling through your couch cushions just yet. Not every 1971's penny is going to make you rich. In fact, most of them are worth about the same as a regular penny. The ones you're looking for are the ones with that double die error. So, how do you spot them? Here's the fun part. You'll want to look at the lettering on the coin, especially the Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions. If you see a noticeable doubling of the letters, like they're blurry or offset, that's your clue that you've found a rare one. It's kind of like spotting a celebrity in a crowd. It's not easy, but when you see it, you'll know it. Even if you find a regular 1971's penny in perfect condition, it's still worth more than face value. A well-preserved coin can fetch a few dollars, but that double die error is the holy grail. And if you happen to find one of those, well, congratulations. You might just be holding on to a future million-dollar treasure. Speaking of treasure hunts, let me tell you about my own experience with coins. I used to think my collection was full of just pennies until one day. I was going through some old boxes from my grandma's house. There it was, an old coin, not worth much at first glance. But I noticed something unusual. It looked like the letters on the coin were a little off. I did some research, and guess what? It turned out to be a rare error coin. While it wasn't a $1 million find, it was worth way more than I expected. Sometimes, the most unassuming things can turn out to be valuable. Just like that old coin I found. Your 1971's penny could be hiding a secret that could make you some serious cash. So, don't toss those pennies aside without checking them out. You never know when a little bit of history might be staring you right in the face. So, what's the bottom line here? If you've got a 1971's penny lying around, take a second to check it out. Even if it doesn't have the double die error, it could still be worth more than face value. But if you happen to find that rare gem, you could be holding on to something worth millions. Remember, coin collecting isn't just about finding rare coins. It's about learning and enjoying the process. And hey, even if your pennies aren't worth millions, they can still teach you something cool about history and value. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare pennies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and tricks to share with you. Whether it's about rare coins, strategies to find valuable collectibles, or how to make the most of your own coin collection, we're diving into something just as mind-blowing. The 2017 P Mint Mark penny. That's right, folks. A penny, worth 1 cent, could actually be worth millions of dollars. Sound crazy? Well, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be scouring your piggy banks for this tiny treasure. So, buckle up and let's talk about why this little penny could be your golden ticket. Okay, let's break it down. We all know pennies are pretty, well, not worth much. They pile up in your couch cushions, get stuck in your car's cup holders, and are mostly used to fill those jars on your kitchen counter. But what if I told you that one particular penny from 2017 could be worth an absolute fortune? I mean, we're talking millions. Yeah, that's not a typo. Now, before you start digging through your change jar and hoping for the best, let me explain why this specific 2017 penny is causing such a stir. It all comes down to a very special mint mark, the P for Philadelphia. That's right, back in 2017, the U.S. Mint decided to put a P mint mark on pennies for the first time in over 200 years. Yeah, that's a big deal. The story goes that the U.S. Mint wanted to celebrate the history of the Philadelphia Mint by adding this P to the penny. This may sound like a small change, but here's the kicker: they didn't make a ton of them. Only about 500 million pennies were stamped with that P in 2017, which might sound like a lot, but in the world of rare coins, it's actually quite a small number. So, why are these pennies so valuable now? Well, it's because of the scarcity combined with the fact that some of these pennies were made with some unique characteristics. When a coin like this is produced in limited quantities or with small defects that make it stand out, collectors get real excited. And I'm talking about collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for just one of these little guys. But here's the twist in the story. It's not just any 2017 P penny that could be worth millions. Oh no, there's a specific condition these coins need to be in. A penny that's well preserved, in mint condition, and with no scratches or blemishes. Those are the ones that could fetch insane amounts. Some of these pennies, when in pristine condition, have been known to sell for over $1 million. Talk about turning a coin jar into a treasure chest, right? I've got $1 million penny just sitting in my wallet. But let's get real here. To be worth that kind of cash, your penny needs to meet the exact criteria. It's got to be in flawless condition, with no wear and tear, and preferably still in its original packaging if it has one. And of course, you need a buyer who's willing to pay that kind of money, which, let's face it, isn't exactly your average day at the bank. But hey, let me tell you about something that happened to me not too long ago. I was going through some old boxes in my attic. Yes, it's a mess up there. And I found a tin can filled with coins. I thought, well, it's just some spare change, probably nothing special. But you know what? Among those dimes, nickels, and a bunch of pennies, there was a shiny 2017 penny sitting right at the top. At first, I thought, this looks a little different. Maybe it's one of those special ones. So, I did what any curious collector would do. I pulled out my phone and started researching it. Turns out, my discovery wasn't quite $1 million find. Hey, a guy can dream. But I did manage to find a 2017 penny in really good condition. No scratches, no dents, just pure shiny glory. So, I popped it into a protective holder and now it sits in my collection, worth a bit more than just face value. And that's the point. You never know what you'll find while you're cleaning out your old stuff. Who knows? You could be sitting on a hidden gem without even realizing it. While it's super unlikely that your average 2017 penny is going to make you a millionaire overnight, it doesn't hurt to keep an eye out. If you happen to stumble upon a well-preserved one, you might just have something worth a pretty penny, pun intended. But always remember, it's all about condition, rarity, and demand if you want to learn more about which coins are worth money, the best strategies for collecting, or how to spot a valuable coin in your change jar, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more coin tips. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on future tips that could help you turn spare change into serious cash. Thanks for tuning in, and happy hunting. Who knows, the next coin you find might just be the jackpot. We're diving into a special penny that could make you a millionaire. Yup, you heard me right. A penny that could be worth millions. Stick around, because this is one coin story you won't want to miss. But before you start running to your coin jar, let me set the scene. Imagine it's 1985, the year Marty McFly first time traveled in Back to the Future, and you're casually flipping through some change and then, BM, you spot something odd. It's a 1985 Lincoln penny. But wait, there's no mint mark. Is this a mistake? Spoiler alert, it could be a golden opportunity. Let's talk about what a mint mark is. When a coin is made, it usually has a small letter stamped on it to show where it was produced. The two most common mint marks for pennies are D for Denver and S for San Francisco. But in 1985, for some reason, a few pennies rolled off the presses with no mint mark at all. It's like a mysterious one-in-a-million treasure hiding in plain sight. Now, if you're thinking, so what? It's just a penny, right? Well, buckle up. This specific 1985 no mint mark penny is a rare bird. Normally, you might not give a second glance to a penny worth 1 cent. But with this rare gem, its value skyrockets, like a coin version of a surprise plot twist in a movie. How much are we talking? Well, if you have a 1985 penny with no mint mark in mint condition, as in, barely touched by human hands and looking like it just rolled off the press, you could be sitting on a fortune. Some of these pennies have sold for over $1 million at auction. That's right, folks, a penny worth $1 million. It's like winning the lottery, but without all the waiting and ticket buying stress. Now, you might be thinking, that's cool, but where am I gonna find one of these $1 million pennies? Well, it's not as easy as stumbling upon it while looking for spare change in the laundry. I'll tell you, I actually have a personal experience with something like this. A couple of years ago, I was at a yard sale. Yeah, I'm the guy who buys weird old stuff at yard sales. Don't judge me. And I saw a jar of old coins for like $5. I grabbed it, thinking, hey, maybe I'll find a cool old quarter or something. I get home, dump it out, and boom, there's this weird penny with no mint mark. I stared at it for like 5 minutes, thinking I was either looking at a mistake or the next big jackpot. Long story short, it wasn't worth millions. But hey, I still sold it for a pretty decent price. Moral of the story? Always check your change, folks. So, how do you know if your 1985 penny is the one? First, check the condition. A penny in good shape, without wear or discoloration, will obviously be more valuable. But don't just judge it based on the naked eye. Grab a magnifying glass, or better yet, get a digital microscope. It's worth the investment. Second, look at the edges and the weight. If the edges are sharp and the weight feels right, it might just be your golden ticket. Also, don't be fooled by people who try to sell you a 1985 penny with no mint mark that's clearly been through the washer and looks like it's been through a battle. The market loves pristine coins, not ones that look like they've been through a blender. And trust me, if you find one, don't go running off to sell it immediately. Sometimes it's better to get an expert's opinion. I once tried to sell an old coin I found in my backyard, and turns out it was just an old play coin from the 90s. Don't rush to sell, always double check. Alright, so before you rush off and start scouring your penny jar like a treasure hunter, let's recap. The 1985 penny with no mint mark is a rare find that could be worth way more than just a cent if it's in mint condition. These bad boys have been known to fetch a cool million at auctions. But, like I said earlier, don't just go throwing your change into a fire pit to see if it's worth anything. Take your time, do your research, and always check the condition. And hey, if you're into learning more about rare coins, their hidden values, and how you can turn your spare change into big bucks, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got tons of tips coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more coin hunting adventures. Smash that subscribe button, and let's find some more hidden treasures together. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep your eyes peeled for those pennies. One of them just might change your life. We're diving into one penny that's worth way more than just 1 cent. I'm talking about the 1961 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and this little copper coin could be sitting in your collection right now, worth a whole lot more than you might think. So grab that jar of spare change from your dresser, and let's see if you've got a potential gold mine hiding in there. Stick around, because this might just change the way you look at pennies forever. So let's start with the basics, shall we? A 1961 Lincoln penny. It's a coin that most of us have probably seen. Maybe you've even tossed one into a wishing well or left it behind as spare change on a vending machine. But here's the kicker. The value of this penny isn't just a few cents. In some cases, it can be worth millions of dollars. Now, I know what you're thinking, there's no way. But trust me, this is no joke. This penny is kind of like that unexpected plot twist in a movie, where you're sitting there thinking, wait, how did we get here? But why, you ask? Well, here's the thing about the 1961 penny. It's the rarity and condition that makes this coin so valuable. You see, the 1961 penny wasn't minted in large numbers, so they're relatively scarce. But it's not just about having one. Oh no. It's all about the state of the penny itself. I'm talking about condition. You want that penny to be in mint condition, looking shiny and sharp, as if it just came out of a time machine. Now, don't just run to your coin jar, because not every 1961 penny is worth millions. But in top-tier condition, it could fetch some pretty impressive numbers. We're talking anywhere from a few $1,000s to, believe it or not, over $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny that could have you cruising around in a new car or even splurging on a vacation, just for finding a tiny coin in your pocket. Okay, but what's the catch? Well, it's about the condition. A lot of 1961 pennies are worn down from being tossed around in our pockets and tossed into coin jars. The real prize is a well-preserved, shiny penny that's in proof condition. These are the ones that are minty fresh, like the day they were made. If you find one of those, and it's got the perfect amount of luster, you're holding on to a treasure. And you know what? This takes me back to a time when I thought I had found a rare coin. Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was rummaging through my old change jar, because hey, why not? And I came across a coin that looked older than the rest. I thought, maybe I've struck gold. So, I Googled it, found out it was from the 1980s, and the value was, well, not quite a fortune. But the lesson? Always double-check your pennies. You never know when you might hit the jackpot. So, what's the takeaway here? If you've got a 1961 Lincoln penny, don't just toss it aside. Give it a second look, because it could be worth way more than you ever imagined. Even if it's not worth millions, you might just be holding onto a hidden gem worth hundreds or thousands. And remember, it's all about the condition, the rarity, and a little bit of luck. Who knows? Maybe your next coin could be the jackpot you've been waiting for. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coin collecting and how to spot hidden treasures in your everyday change. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next video where we'll dig into even more coins that could be worth a fortune. Stay sharp, happy hunting, and I'll see you. Hey there, treasure hunters. Quick question. Have you ever checked your spare change and thought, what if there's a fortune hiding in plain sight? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into one of the most intriguing coins out there, the 1980 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Spoiler alert, it could be worth a mind-blowing amount of money. Yes, I'm talking millions. So grab your coffee, sit tight, and let's find out if that humble penny in your jar is actually your ticket to a dream vacation. Or, heck, maybe early retirement. Okay, let's rewind for a second and talk about what makes this penny so special. First off, the 1980 no-mint mark penny might look like any old penny at first glance. It features good OL, Honest Abe on the front, just as you'd expect. But here's the twist. There's no tiny mint mark under the year. Normally, pennies from this time would have a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. If it's missing, though, that's where things get interesting. Why is the missing mint mark such a big deal? Great question. Coins without mint marks were typically made at the Philadelphia Mint, but in 1980, they did mark most of their coins. So, a no-mint mark penny from 1980 is incredibly rare, and rarity equals value. It's like finding the one sock in your drawer that doesn't have a hole in it. It's practically a miracle. Now, let's talk about the money. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. If you've got a 1980 no-mint mark penny in mint condition, think shiny and flawless. It could fetch as much as $1.7 million at auction. Yeah, you heard me right, 7 figures for a penny. And even if yours has seen some wear and tear, it could still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That's a pretty sweet deal for something you probably picked up in change after buying a candy bar back in the day. That sounds great, but how do I know if my penny is the real deal? Simple. Grab a magnifying glass and inspect it like a detective. Check for that missing mint mark. If it's not there and the coin's in great shape, you might want to get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. Think of it like taking your penny to the spa. They'll make it look good and verify its worth. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was digging through an old jar of pennies at my grandmother's house. She keeps everything, bless her heart. I wasn't expecting much, maybe a few wheat pennies at best. A 1980 penny with no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Of course, I sent it in for grading, and guess what? It wasn't the rare $1 million one, but it was still worth $200. That's not bad for something that was collecting dust in a jar. I used that $200 to take Grandma out for a steak dinner. She still insists it was her lucky jar that made it happen. Don't underestimate your spare change. Coins like the 1980 no-mint mark penny are proof that treasures can be hiding in the most unexpected places. The next time you're about to dump your coins into one of those machines at the grocery store, stop and take a closer look. You could be holding on to a small fortune. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about spotting valuable coins, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more tips, tricks, and stories to help you turn pocket change into big bucks. You never know. You might just discover your next big payday is jingling in your pocket right now. Have you ever checked your pocket change and thought, could this penny buy me a mansion? Well, if you've got a 1963 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark, you might just be holding a small fortune, and I mean, millions of dollars. Yep, a little OL penny. The kind you probably toss into a tip jar or leave under your couch cushions could change your life. Today, we're diving into why this unassuming coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to pay insane amounts for it. So grab your piggy bank and stick around, because this is one story that might turn your spare change into serious cha-ching. Let's start with the basics. The 1963 Lincoln penny is iconic, featuring Honest Abe's handsome profile on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. But here's the kicker. If your penny has no mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, usually, a Philadelphia mint mark, or lack thereof, isn't anything special. But this particular year and penny? That's where the magic happens. Here's why. Collectors go absolutely wild for high-quality coins, especially ones with rare errors or unique characteristics. In 1963, some pennies came out with incredibly sharp details, perfect strikes, and no blemishes. Combine that with the lack of a mint mark and boom, you've got a rare collectible that can fetch top dollar. And when I say top dollar, I mean millions. But hold on. Before you start imagining swimming in a pool of gold coins like Scrooge McDuck, let's talk about what makes these pennies so valuable. The key is condition. A perfect, uncirculated penny, what experts call an MS 67 or higher, can command those jaw-dropping prices. A regular circulated 1963 penny, the kind you find in your change, probably worth just 1 cent. Sorry to burst your bubble, but hey, it's still a cool piece of history. Now, let me tell you a quick story. Last summer, I was cleaning out my old coin jar. You know, the one we all have that's filled with random pennies, quarters, and mystery foreign coins. I came across a 1963 penny and thought, could this be it? My ticket to early retirement. I spent the next hour Googling, holding it under a magnifying glass, and even calling a coin shop to ask. Spoiler alert, mine wasn't the $1 million version. But that moment got me hooked on learning about rare coins, and now, here we are. So how do you check if your penny is worth big bucks? Step 1. Grab a magnifying glass or loupe. Trust me, squinting won't cut it. Step 2. Look for that no mint mark. Step 3. Check the condition. If it's shiny, flawless, and looks like it just popped out of the mint yesterday, you might be in business. And step 4? Get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They'll slap it with an official grade, and that's when you'll know if you've hit the jackpot. All right, let's wrap this up. Who would have thought that a tiny piece of copper could be worth more than a Ferrari? Whether or not you strike gold, or copper, with your penny, it's a fun and exciting way to connect with history and maybe even cash in. And hey, even if your 1963 penny isn't worth millions, you've got a cool story to tell and one more reason to appreciate those little coins jingling in your pocket. Before you head off to raid your couch cushions, here's my call to action. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth crazy amounts of money, rare finds, and strategies to grow your collection, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, too, so you never miss a chance to uncover treasure in your spare change. Thanks for watching and happy hunting. Who knows? Your next penny might just be your ticket to the Millionaires Club. What if I told you that the humble penny jingling in your pocket could be worth millions? Yes, millions. Sounds crazy, right? Well, hold on to your hats or your piggy banks, because today, we're diving into the incredible story of the 1968 D. Lincoln penny. This little copper coin might just be your golden ticket to a life of luxury. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin so valuable and how to spot one for yourself. Oh, and I've got a personal story about my own coin hunt that I think you'll relate to. Spoiler alert. It involves a magnifying glass, a flashlight, and way too much coffee. Let's get started. All right, let's break this down. First, let's talk about the 1968 D. Lincoln penny itself. The D stands for Denver, where the coin was minted. Now, millions of these coins were made. So what makes this one so special? It all comes down to a few rare errors and conditions that make certain 1968 D pennies extraordinary. The first thing to look for is a minting error. In 1968, the US Mint occasionally had a bad day, like all of us. Some coins were struck with double dies, which means the design appears slightly doubled. Imagine Abraham Lincoln looking like he's got a shadow twin on the coin. If you spot this, congratulations, you're holding a gem that could fetch tens of thousands of dollars. Next up is the condition. Coin collectors, or numismatists, fancy word for coin nerds, are obsessed with perfection. A penny that looks like it just rolled off the minting press is what's called mint state. If your 1968 D penny is graded at the elusive MS 67 or higher, you're looking at some serious cash. In fact, the most valuable 1968 D. Lincoln penny sold for over $100,000 at auction, and the right coin, under the right circumstances, could be worth even more, potentially into the millions. But let's not forget the copper factor. Did you know that pennies minted before 1982 are made of 95% copper? With copper prices fluctuating, even your average old pennies are worth more than face value. So dig out those jars of pennies. Who knows what treasure might be hiding in there? Searching for these coins. A couple of years ago, I became obsessed with the idea of finding a rare penny. I grabbed every penny I could find, drawer pennies, car seat pennies, even those crusty ones from the bottom of my washing machine. I sat at my kitchen table, armed with a magnifying glass and my phone flashlight. It felt like I was solving a mystery. Did I find a 1968 D worth millions? Not yet, but I did find a penny from 1943 made of steel, and let me tell you, I felt like Indiana Jones discovering the Ark of the Covenant. Absolutely. That 1968 D penny in your pocket might just be the jackpot you didn't know you were carrying. But even if you don't strike gold, or copper, in this case, the thrill of the hunt is worth it. Trust me, you'll never look at loose change the same way again. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons more tips on coins worth money, treasure hunting strategies, and how to make the most of your collection. Plus, I'll be sharing more of my own coin hunting adventures, and you won't want to miss those. Let's turn those pennies into possibilities together. When's the last time you actually looked at your pocket change? If you're like most people, probably never, right? But what if I told you there's a penny out there that could be worth more than your car, your house, or even your college tuition? Yep, today we're talking about the 1976 D Lincoln penny, aka the little copper coin that could make you a millionaire. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be rummaging through your couch cushions like a pirate on a treasure hunt. So, let's get down to business. What's so special about the 1976 D Lincoln penny? First off, let's break it down. The D mint mark means it was minted in Denver. Shout out to the Rockies. In 1976, the U.S. was celebrating its bicentennial, and while everyone was busy with parades and fireworks, Denver was quietly cranking out pennies. Little did they know, some of these coins would end up being literal gold mines. Now, not every 1976 D penny is worth a fortune. Most of them, pocket change. But a select few, jackpot. The big money comes from rare errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. These errors make collectors lose their minds and their wallets. For example, there was one 1976 D penny that sold for a whopping $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.7 million. For a penny. Let that sink in. You're probably thinking, okay, great, but how do I know if my 1976 D penny is worth big bucks? Well, here's what you need to do. Check the mint mark. Look for that tiny D below the date. Examine the coin closely. Use a magnifying glass if you've got one. Look for doubling on the letters, numbers, or Lincoln's profile. Check the condition. A coin in mint condition, what collectors call MS or mint state, is worth way more than one that's been through the washing machine. Get it authenticated. If you think you've struck gold, or copper, in this case, take your penny to a professional grader like PCGS or NGC. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out an old drawer in my grandma's house. You know, the kind of drawer that has everything from rubber bands to birthday cards from 1985. I came across this beat-up little penny and thought, what if this is one of those rare coins I've read about? I took it to a coin shop, heart-pounding, visions of mansions and luxury vacations dancing in my head. Spoiler alert, it was worth 1 cent. But hey, at least I got a good laugh out of it. And a reminder to keep searching, so there you have it. The 1976 D Lincoln penny could be your ticket to financial freedom, or at least a fun story to tell at parties. The key is to stay curious, do your homework, and never underestimate the power of a humble penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could change your life, literally, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next big tip on finding hidden treasures in your spare change. You're digging through your couch cushions for enough change to grab a coffee, and boom, you pull out a penny worth millions. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, today, we're talking about a little copper coin that could make that dream come true. The 1979 D Lincoln penny. This isn't just any old penny. It could be a jackpot hiding in plain sight, so grab your piggy banks, your coin jars, or even that dusty box of old pennies you forgot about in the attic, because by the end of this video, you'll be sprinting to check your collection. Let's dive in. Alright, here's the deal with the 1979 D Lincoln penny. First, let's break it down. The D mint mark means it was minted in Denver, and this particular penny has a fascinating story. Most of these coins are pretty standard. 99.9% of them aren't worth more than face value. But oh, that 0.1%, that's where things get spicy. Some of these pennies have minting errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, or even weird defects in the copper plating. And it's those quirks that make collectors drool. A rare mint error can send the value of a humble penny skyrocketing into the 6 or even 7 figures. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny could buy you a mansion. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I found myself in one of those deep clean-the-house moods, the kind where you suddenly care about organizing every drawer. Anyway, I stumbled on an old jar of coins my grandparents gave me. I thought, hey, what if there's something valuable in here? So, I started sorting. Turns out, no $1 million penny for me. But I did find a wheat penny worth about 15 bucks. Not bad for 15 minutes of digging, right? I didn't even know what to look for back then. If I'd known about the 1979 D Lincoln penny, who knows? I could be filming this from my private yacht right now. Let's talk specifics. The big-ticket 1979 D pennies typically have one of two things going for them: pristine condition or errors. If your penny looks like it just came out of the mint, no scratches, no wear, it might be considered a gem uncirculated coin. These can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars at auction. Then, there are the error coins. Double dies are the big stars here. This happens when the design gets stamped twice, creating a shadow effect. It's like your penny went to a funhouse mirror. Collectors lose their minds over these. Another error to watch for is off-center strikes, where the design is shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. These are worth a ton because they're so rare. And let's not forget tone coins. Over time, some pennies develop wild, colorful patterns due to chemical reactions. It's like nature's way of saying, hey, look at me. A beautifully toned 1979 D penny can fetch big bucks too. All right, folks, now it's your turn. Dig through your couch cushions, your car's cup holder, or that jar of pennies you've been ignoring. Look for the 1979 D Lincoln penny and check for those rare features. You never know. You might be holding a piece of numismatic history worth millions. Before you go, I've got one last tip. Grab a magnifying glass. It's not just for detectives anymore. It's the ultimate tool for coin hunting. And hey, if you find something incredible, let me know in the comments. I love hearing those hidden treasure stories. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more tips on finding coins worth real money. Who knows? The next video might lead you to the jackpot. We're diving into the fascinating story of the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Yes, a plain OL penny that could be worth up to $1 million. That's right, a single cent with a value that would make your bank account do a happy dance. So, grab your loose change, and let's find out if you're sitting on a hidden treasure. Spoiler alert, you might never look at pennies the same way again. What's the deal with no-mint mark coins? In 1978, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia produced these Lincoln pennies without a mint mark. But wait, before you start raiding your piggy bank, let me clear something up. Not every no-mint mark penny is worth a fortune. In fact, most of them are still worth, you guessed it, 1 cent. But here's where it gets juicy. What makes some of these pennies valuable is their condition and rarity. We're talking about pennies that are pristine, flawless, and so shiny they could double as a signal mirror. Coin collectors call this condition MS 67 or higher, which is a fancy way of saying almost perfect. And finding one in this condition is like spotting a unicorn at your local grocery store. Back in 2018, one of these rare, no-mint mark 1978 Lincoln pennies sold for over $11,000 at auction. That's the price of a decent used car for a penny. Imagine walking into a dealership and saying, I'll trade you this for a Honda Civic. But wait, it gets even crazier. Experts believe that as time goes on, the value of these coins could skyrocket. potentially reaching 6 or even 7 figures for the rarest finds. Why? Because collectors are willing to pay top dollar for history and a little bit of shiny metal. Let me share a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out an old drawer when I stumbled upon a jar of pennies. One of them looked different. No mint mark, sharp details, and it had this weird glow like it had been blessed by the coin gods. I got all excited and rushed to get it appraised. Turns out, it was just a regular penny. But hey, for a few glorious hours, I thought I was sitting on $1 million fortune. Moral of the story? It's worth checking your coins. But maybe don't quit your day job just yet. So how do you know if you've hit the jackpot? Check for no mint mark. Flip the penny over and look below the date. No little letter? Good start. Assess the condition. Is it shiny and free of scratches? The better the condition, the higher the value. Get it graded. If you think you've got a winner, send it to a professional coin grading service. They'll tell you if your penny is worth pennies, or a whole lot more to know. And one more thing, beware of fakes. Yep, people have tried to pass off fake no mint mark pennies. So, if it looks too good to be true, get it verified by an expert. Alright, so now you know the scoop on the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny. While not every penny is going to make you rich, it's worth taking a closer look at your spare change. Who knows? That dusty jar of coins in your closet might just be your ticket to financial freedom, or at least a really nice dinner. Before you go, here's the deal. If you found this video helpful or just mildly entertaining, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons more tips and strategies to help you uncover hidden treasures in your pocket change. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. Now, go grab your coins and start hunting, and let me know in the comments if you find anything cool. You're digging through an old jar of pennies. Maybe it's something your grandma tucked away, or it's that dusty change bowl on your dresser. And boom, you stumble upon what looks like a regular OL penny from 1968. But hold on, my friend, because that little copper coin could secretly be worth millions. Yes, millions. Why? Well, that's what we're diving into today. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why a 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny is such a big deal, how to identify it, and how much it's actually worth today. So, grab your pennies and let's get to it. Now, let's start with a little background. The 1968 Lincoln penny, classic design, Honest Abe on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. In 1968, the U.S. Mint was cranking out pennies in multiple locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, coins have a little letter to show where they were made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco. And if there's no letter, that usually means it's from Philadelphia. Some pennies from 1968 without a mint mark have turned out to be special. These aren't your run-of-the-mill Philly coins. A rare batch was struck with errors or anomalies that collectors go absolutely bananas for. One such coin reportedly sold for over $1 million at auction. I mean, who knew pennies could have a better retirement plan than most of us? Quick story. This reminds me of the time I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He had this rusty coffee can filled with coins. I was just sitting there, sorting through them for fun and BAM. I found a 1968 penny with no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. This is it, I thought. I'm quitting my job and buying an island. It wasn't the rare one. But hey, at least I got a good story and $5 from my uncle for helping out. Lesson learned? Always double-check your change because you never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. All right, back to business. If you think you've got a 1968 no mint mark penny, here's what you need to do. Use a magnifying glass or a loupe. You're looking for specific errors or details that make it stand out. These can include double die errors, where parts of the design appear doubled, or unusual wear patterns. The value of your penny skyrockets if it's in pristine condition. If it looks like it's been through a war, it might still be worth something, but probably not millions. For serious coins, you'll need to send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and assign it a grade. High-grade coins are where the big bucks are. Not every 1968 no mint mark penny is valuable, but the rare ones have specific traits. Look for auctions or collector forums to compare your find. Now, let's talk money. A basic 1968 no mint mark penny? Probably worth a cent, maybe a few bucks if it's shiny. But the rare versions with errors or unique characteristics. Those are the coins fetching insane prices, upwards of $1 million in some cases. The exact value depends on its rarity, condition, and how much a collector is willing to pay. And trust me, collectors are obsessed. They're like that one friend who can name every Pokemon but for coins instead. So, what's the moral of the story here? Don't underestimate the power of loose change. That penny in your pocket might just be the golden ticket to your dream vacation, or at least a solid down payment on a card. Here's your homework. Go grab your piggy bank, that jar of coins in your kitchen, or even the cup holder in your car. Check every single 1968 penny you can find. Who knows? You might just hit the jackpot if you found this video helpful, or if you just enjoy the thought of becoming a penny millionaire. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are worth big money. Don't miss out. It's like leaving free money on the table. Have you ever gone through your pocket change and thought, there's got to be something valuable in here, right? Well, guess what? You might just be sitting on $1 million jackpot without even realizing it. Today, we're talking about the 1994 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a little copper coin that's worth way more than its weight in gold. Yes, you heard that right. This seemingly ordinary penny could be your golden ticket to financial freedom. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and why this coin is causing such a buzz in the numismatic world. Let's dive in. The 1994 no-mint mark penny looks like any other penny you'd find in your couch cushions or in that jar of spare change on your dresser. But what sets it apart is its rarity and the insane value collectors are willing to pay for it. Now, the no-mint mark part means it was minted in Philadelphia, where they traditionally don't put mint marks on their coins. That's normal. But what makes this specific penny so special is a combination of its pristine condition and a few unique quirks. For instance, some of these pennies are known to have subtle doubling on the obverse, the side with Lincoln's face. That's what we call a double die. And if you've got one of these bad boys in mint state condition, you could be looking at a coin worth six figures, or even more. Let me put it into perspective. In 2021, a 1994 no-mint mark penny in near-perfect condition sold for over $1.5 million at an auction. $1.5 million for a penny. I mean, imagine the irony. You're out here pinching pennies to save money, and one of those pennies could be the thing that makes you a millionaire. Speaking of irony, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I found an old jar of coins in my grandma's attic. Being the curious coin geek that I am, I decided to sift through them. Among the pile was a 1994 penny. My heart stopped for a second. I thought I hit the jackpot, but after close inspection, it turned out to be a regular old penny with no special features. Talk about a buzzkill. But hey, at least I got a good laugh out of it and a fun story to share with you. So, how do you know if your 1994 penny is the one? First, check the condition. The closer it is to being uncirculated, no scratches, no wear, the better. Next, look for any doubling on the letters or Lincoln's face. Finally, if you think you've got something special, take it to a professional coin grader. Trust me, it's worth the effort if it means potentially turning 1 cent into $1 million. Now, you might be wondering why anyone would pay so much for a penny. Well, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a passion and sometimes an obsession. Rare coins like this one are historical artifacts, and collectors are willing to shell out big bucks for a piece of history. So, what are you waiting for? Go grab that jar of pennies, check under your car seats, and raid your piggy bank. You might just strike it rich. And hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny, who knows? Maybe you'll stumble upon another rare coin that's worth some serious cash. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips and strategies for finding coins worth money, and you don't want to miss out. Let's turn your pocket change into life-changing cash, one penny at a time. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 2018 D-Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Some of these little copper beauties have been selling for jaw-dropping amounts. So, grab your coin jar, dust off your magnifying glass, and let's uncover why this tiny treasure could make you rich. All right, let's kick this off with the basics. The 2018 D penny. What's so special about it? First off, the D mint mark means it was struck in Denver. Fun fact, Denver churned out billions of these pennies in 2018. So, at first glance, it might seem like they're as common as finding a sock without a match. But here's the kicker. It's not just any 2018 D penny that's valuable. It's the ones with rare errors and pristine conditions that collectors are losing their minds and wallets over. Now, what kind of errors are we talking about? Picture this. You're examining your penny and you notice something off. Maybe the lettering looks wonky, Lincoln's profile seems smudged, or there's a strange doubling effect on the date or mint mark. These are called die errors, and collectors go bananas for them. Why? Because errors make coins unique, and unique means dollar dollar dollar. Speaking of money, let's talk value. A regular 2018 D penny is, well, worth a penny. But if you've got one in pristine condition, what collectors call MS-68 or MS-69 grade, it could fetch hundreds, even thousands of dollars at auction. And here's the wild part. If your coin has a major error, it could shoot up into the millions. Yes, millions for a penny. Let that sink in for a second. Now, I've got to share a quick story. A while back, I was at a garage sale. You know, the kind where you can find everything from vintage teacups to someone's dusty exercise bike. I spotted a jar of coins marked $5, take all. Naturally, I snagged it. When I got home, I started sorting through it, and there it was, a shiny 2018 D penny with a weird little bump on the 8. I didn't think much of it at first, but after some research, I realized I might be holding a rare error coin. Did it turn out to be worth millions? Not quite, but I did sell it for a couple $100, which is not bad for a penny, right? So how can you find one of these jackpot coins? Check your spare change. Get familiar with coin grading. You don't need to be an expert. There are online guides and apps to help you out. Keep an eye on auctions. Even if you don't have a $1 million penny right now, it's fascinating to see what's out there at SO. There you have it. The 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be your ticket to a small fortune or even a $1 million payday. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who likes to dig through couch cushions, this is your sign to start checking those coins. And hey, if you enjoyed this little dive into the world of valuable coins, why not stick around? Hit that subscribe button, tap the bell for notifications, and join our growing community of treasure hunters. Who knows? The next video might just help you uncover another hidden fortune. We're diving into a coin that could turn your wildest dreams into reality. The elusive 1986 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That's right, folks. This little copper coin might just be worth enough to retire early and buy your dream island. Intrigued? Good, because you're going to want to hear every word of this. Trust me, by the end, you'll be inspecting every penny you own like a detective in a crime drama. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about what makes the 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia during that era would still have a tiny P on them. But in this rare case, that mint mark is completely missing. It's like someone sent the penny out without its signature, making it the unsung celebrity of the coin world. Now, here's the kicker. This isn't just any no mint mark coin. It's a flawless 1986 penny in pristine condition, meaning it has to be virtually untouched, free of scratches, and gleaming like it just rolled off the production line. And why does this matter? Well, collectors are willing to pay big bucks, we're talking millions, for coins in top-notch condition. So, if you find one of these in a jar of pocket change, congratulations! You might just be richer than you thought. Let me break it down further. The current market value of this rare penny depends on its grade. Coins are graded on a scale, and a perfect grade is called MS-70. The closer your coin is to this magical number, the more valuable it is. A collector or auction might pay a staggering sum for a pristine example, like life-changing staggering. And even if your coin isn't perfect, a near-perfect one could still fetch tens of thousands of dollars. But wait, before you go flipping over every coin in your house, let me tell you about my own penny fiasco. A few years ago, I was digging through a shoebox of old coins my grandma kept. I thought I struck gold, or copper, technically, when I found a penny with no mint mark. My heart was pounding like I just found a winning lottery ticket. Turns out, it was a regular penny that just had a smudge where the mint mark should have been. So, word to the wise. double-check with a magnifying glass, and maybe consult an expert before quitting your day job. How do you spot a real deal? First, grab your trusty magnifying glass, or your phone's zoom camera if you're fancy like that. Look for the year 1986 on the coin, then check under the date. If there's no mint mark, you could have a winner. But remember, condition is everything. If the penny looks like it's been through a washing machine or chewed by your dog, sorry, it's probably not worth millions. Finally, what should you do if you think you've got the rare penny? Don't just toss it in your pocket and head to the nearest vending machine. Okay? Instead, get it professionally appraised. Reach out to a trusted coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. These pros can confirm if you've hit the jackpot or if it's just another regular penny. All right, my fellow treasure hunters, now it's your turn to check those coin jars, couch cushions, and maybe even that random drawer in the kitchen everyone has. Who knows, your next trip to the vending machine could turn into a one-way ticket to millionaire status. And hey, if you love learning about hidden gems like the 1986 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin enthusiasts. I'll keep bringing you more tips on spotting valuable coins so you can start your own treasure hunting journey. Oh, and don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. You never know who might be sitting on a gold mine or, in this case, a copper one. We're diving into a coin that might just have you doing a double take the next time you check your pocket change. The 1978 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds pretty ordinary, right? Wrong. This little coin is worth more than you could ever imagine. In fact, some versions of it could be worth millions of dollars. Yep, you heard that right. This humble penny could turn you into a millionaire. But before you start rummaging through your piggy bank and wishing you still had that jar of pennies from the 90s, let me tell you why this specific coin is so special and what makes it so valuable. First, let's talk about the basics. The 1978 D penny is like any other penny, right? It's made of copper, features Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, and has the famous Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's where things get interesting. Not every 1978 D penny is created equal. You see, most of the 1978 D pennies that were minted in Denver are worth, well, a penny. But there's a rare version of the 1978 D penny that was struck with a double die error. This means that the coin has two impressions of the image on the die, which causes the image of Abraham Lincoln and the lettering to appear doubled. It's subtle, but if you know what to look for, it's unmistakable. Because this error is so rare, certain 1978 D double die pennies are worth an incredible amount of money. I'm talking about thousands of dollars. And in some cases, the value can go all the way up to millions if the coin is in pristine condition. How do you spot this rare gem? You'll need to look closely at the details, especially on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you see any doubling, meaning that the letters look slightly blurry or like they've been stamped twice, then congratulations, you might have a winner on your hands. But be warned, this is where things get tricky. You'll want to have a magnifying glass or even a good camera lens to inspect the coin closely. Trust me, I've spent hours peering through my coins like I was auditioning for a detective role in a crime drama. Sometimes I think I need a degree in forensic coin analysis. Okay, but is it really worth millions? Or is that just some kind of clickbait? Well, here's the real kicker. Yes, it's worth it if you get the right one in the right condition. The prices for these rare coins have been known to soar when they're auctioned off, sometimes reaching up to $2 million. And that's not just a rumor. I've seen it happen. Let me tell you a quick story from my own experience. A few years back, I found a coin in a random lot I purchased online. At first, it looked like any other penny, but after a little inspection and some very exciting Googling, I realized it was a 1978 D penny with a double die error. It wasn't in perfect condition, but it was definitely worth more than a few cents. I sold it for $500. I know, it's not millions, but hey, a $500 penny is a good start, right? And here's another pro tip. Just because you find a penny that looks a little off doesn't mean it's going to be worth a small fortune. It all depends on the minting error, the condition, and how rare that particular coin is. So don't go throwing away all your pennies just yet. Sometimes, it's the little things that make all the difference. But for now, if you have a 1978 D penny, take a good look at it. You might just be holding on to a little piece of history and possibly a gold mine. So, the next time you're sorting through your change, remember, That 1978 D. Abraham Lincoln penny in your hand could be the ticket to some serious cash. You don't need to be a professional coin collector to spot these valuable gems. You just need to know what to look for. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about hidden treasures in your pocket change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons more tips and tricks to help you spot coins worth a lot more than their face value. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Who knows? Your next $1,000,000 coin could be sitting in a jar right now. Imagine you're digging through a jar of old pennies you've had lying around for years. You come across a 1971 penny. Looks like the same old, right? But what if I told you that this seemingly regular penny could be worth millions of dollars? Yeah, you heard that right, $1,000,000 for a penny. Now, before you go running to your coin collection to check, let me explain how a 1971 Lincoln penny without a mint mark can become your ticket to a fortune. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot this hidden gem and maybe, just maybe, you'll be sitting on a gold mine. So, what exactly is the deal with the 1971 no mint mark penny, and why is it such a big deal? Well, here's the thing. Most of the pennies you find from 1971 will have a mint mark. The mint mark is usually a small letter D or S, depending on where they were minted, Denver or San Francisco. And this is where it gets crazy. Some of the 1971 pennies were accidentally minted without any mint mark. And this little mistake turned out to be a huge deal in the world of coin collectors. Now, let's take a step back and talk about what makes this penny worth so much. Pennies, for the most part, are not worth a ton of money. In fact, a regular 1971 penny with a mint mark is worth just 1 cent, as it should be, right? But when a penny lacks the mint mark, it creates this super rare, almost mythical coin that makes collectors go wild. It's like finding a rare Pokemon in your backyard. Unexpected, and when you find it, it's worth a lot more than just a simple penny. This is not a coin you'll find every day. In fact, finding a 1971 penny without a mint mark is like winning the coin lottery. There are only a few out there, which is exactly why they're so valuable. The rarity, combined with a mix-up during the minting process, made it one of those things where the mistake actually made it more valuable over time. Collectors are always hunting for these kinds of coins, and when they find one, it's like discovering a hidden treasure chest. Alright, so let's talk money. How much could you make if you found one of these rare 1971 no mint mark pennies? The price can vary, but if you've got one in mint condition, it could easily be worth hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Yes, I said millions. That's because collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these rare finds, especially if they're in great shape. The best part? It doesn't matter if it's tarnished or a bit worn. The rarity of the coin is what really drives up the price. And don't just take my word for it. There are real stories of people who found these coins in their old change jars or collections. I'm talking about average people like you and me. Take, for example, my friend Mark. Mark had a coin collection passed down to him from his grandfather. One day, he decided to dig through the collection, just for fun, when he came across a 1971 penny with no mint mark. At first, he didn't think much of it, just another penny. But after doing a bit of research and consulting with a local coin dealer, he realized he was holding a priceless piece of history. In the end, Mark sold it for $1.5 million. You heard that right. He turned a penny into a small fortune. You know, I've been eyeing my own penny jar ever since. Maybe I'll get lucky too. So, after all this talk about $1,000,000 pennies, here's the big takeaway. If you have a 1971 penny with no mint mark, get it checked out. It could be worth a lot more than you think. Keep in mind that the condition of the coin matters, but it's the rarity of the no mint mark penny that makes it so valuable in the first place. This sounds too good to be true, but I assure you, it's a real thing. Don't let your old pennies sit there collecting dust. Who knows? Maybe you've got a future fortune just sitting in that change jar. If you want more tips and tricks on how to spot rare coins that could make you big money, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'll be bringing you more coin tips, myths busted, and maybe even some behind-the-scenes peeks at rare finds. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more stories like Mark's, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on this treasure hunt. Hey, you won't believe this, but you could be sitting on a literal gold mine without even knowing it. No, I'm not talking about that old bag of coins you found in your closet. I'm talking about a tiny, little penny. And not just any penny. The 1991 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. If you've got one of these hiding in your change jar, you might want to take a seat, because this little guy could be worth millions of dollars. Yep, you heard me right, millions. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you why this penny could be worth a fortune, how to spot it, and what to do if you find one. All right, let's dive in. You might be thinking, a penny? Worth $1 million? Are you kidding? But trust me, there's more to this than just a shiny piece of copper. Here's the deal. Most pennies minted in 1991 have a mint mark, either in D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker. There's a rare, very rare variety that's missing the mint mark entirely. That's right, some pennies from that year were struck with no mint mark, which makes them incredibly valuable. Now, you might be asking, why does no mint mark make a penny worth so much? Well, here's where things get interesting. The absence of a mint mark on a 1991 penny suggests that it was minted in Philadelphia. But get this, the Philadelphia Mint didn't produce any pennies in 1991. So how did these little guys make it into circulation? Well, that's the mystery that makes them so highly sought after by collectors. Since there are so few of these no mint mark pennies, they're considered to be an error, and collectors love errors. Tio put it simply, these 1991 no mint mark pennies are like that rare Pokemon card you found in your cereal box when you were a kid. People are hunting for them, and when they find one, they're willing to pay a pretty penny. No pun intended. But let's be real, finding one of these in your pocket change? It's a long shot. However, if you do come across one, don't just toss it into your coin jar or spend it at the coffee shop. This penny is worth way more than the face value of 1 cent. In fact, some of these can go for hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars depending on their condition and rarity. So, how can you spot a 1991 penny without a mint mark? First things first, check the obverse, or the head side of the coin, where you'll see Lincoln's profile. If it doesn't have a mint mark underneath the date, you might have a winner. But don't get too excited just yet. It's important to inspect the penny's condition too. Coins that are in better shape are worth more, so keep an eye out for any signs of wear and tear. Here's a little story to make this even more relatable. A while ago, I was going through my old coin collection, the one I've had since I was a kid. I remember finding a 1991 penny in there and thinking, it's just a penny, and almost tossing it aside. But then I remembered hearing something about the whole no mint mark thing. I did a quick search online and, sure enough, I was sitting on a rare find. Long story short, I ended up selling that penny for a lot more than I ever imagined. And it was a game changer for me. I learned to never underestimate the value of a penny again. So there you have it. The 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a fortune, but only if you find it in your collection or in your loose change, and if it's in good condition. If you ever come across one, be sure to check the mint mark and take care of it, because you might just have a coin worth millions on your hands. And hey, I know it sounds crazy, but that's the world of rare coins. One minute you're holding a regular old penny, and the next minute, you could be holding a small fortune. So, make sure to keep your eyes peeled, check your pockets, and always do your research. Before you go, hit that subscribe button for more tips on how to find hidden gems in your coin collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more of these coin hunting secrets. And who knows, you might just find your own $1 million penny someday. Hold up. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, a penny, could make you a millionaire? Sounds like a get-rich-quick scheme, right? But it's true. A 1989 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a crazy amount of money. And no, it's not a typo. We're talking millions, my friend. You heard that right, millions. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal why this little piece of copper might be hiding some serious cash value, and how you can cash in on it. So, grab your change jar and let's get into it. Now, most of us are used to seeing pennies all the time, right? They're those little guys you find in your couch cushions, your car's cup holder, or maybe even stuck to the bottom of your shoe. I know, I've been there. But did you know that some pennies, specifically a very rare one from 1989, are worth way more than their face value? Host zooms in on the penny they are holding. Check this out. A regular 1989 penny? It's worth, well, 1 cent. But here's where things get interesting. The 1989 no mint mark penny, the one without a mint mark, could be worth a ton more. Let's break it down. So, first off, most coins from the US have a mint mark on them. It's usually a small letter on the front or back, indicating where the coin was made. You've probably seen it on dimes, quarters, and pennies, right? For example, if you see a D on the penny, it means it was made in Denver. An S means it came from San Francisco. But the 1989 penny, it doesn't have any mint mark. Just a plain old coin. Weird, right? It wasn't supposed to happen. Normally, every penny made in 1989 had a mint mark, except for a small batch that came out without one. It's like a printing error. Only this wasn't a mistake that makes it worthless. No, no. It's actually the opposite. These missing mint mark pennies are rare, and people pay big money for them. We're talking anywhere between $500 and $1 million depending on its condition and where it's sold. Yup, you heard me. 1 penny could be worth more than my monthly rent. And believe me, I've been looking for a bargain. I mean, we all have that one drawer full of loose change, right? I can't be the only one who digs through it hoping to find treasure. I found a 1997 dime in mine the other day, and I was like, this is it. This is my ticket to fame and fortune. Turns out, it was just a regular dime. But hey, sometimes I dream big, all right? But with the 1989 no mint mark penny, it's not a pipe dream. It's real. Now, don't just run out and look for any old 1989 penny. These things are valuable only if they have the missing mint mark and are in pretty good shape. Let's talk condition for a second. The better the condition, the more cash you're looking at. If your penny is in mint condition, no scratches, no discoloration, you could get a lot more than the low-end value. But here's the catch. These pennies are hard to come by. If you find one, you've hit the jackpot. But how do I even know if mine is the rare one? It's pretty simple. Look for a 1989 penny with no mint mark on the back. If you've got a penny from the 1989 series, pull it out, give it a good look, and see if it's missing that small mint mark that's usually by the date. If you do find one, get it checked out by a professional. Seriously, because these pennies can sometimes get you a small fortune if they're verified as authentic and in great condition. And when I say great condition, I mean no damage. Not even the tiniest of scratches. Otherwise, your $1 million coin might only bring in a couple $100. Still good, but not quite the millionaire status we're aiming for. Here's a pro tip. Check auction sites like eBay or even specialized coin websites. Some of these rare pennies have been sold for over $100,000, and there are some that have sold for well over $1 million. Imagine flipping a penny and making that kind of cash. You'd never look at pennies the same again, right? So, there you have it. That humble 1989 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, just chilling in your coin jar, might actually be worth a lot more than you think. If you find one, don't just toss it aside with the rest of your change. Get it checked out. And who knows? You might be the next millionaire from a lucky find. Now, I've shared all my coin knowledge with you. If you want more tips on how to find rare, valuable coins and turn your loose change into big bucks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm always on the lookout for cool coins, and I'll keep sharing all the tips to help you strike gold. Or at least strike a better bargain than the price of your morning coffee. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled, keep searching, and remember, 1 penny can change your life. And I'll see you in the next video with more coin secrets. Don't miss it. Hey there, coin collectors and curious minds. Have you ever thought your pocket change could make you a millionaire? Well, if you've got a 1975 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you might just be sitting on a tiny fortune. No joke. Stick around, because today we're going to break down the mystery of this coin and why it could be worth a lot more than you think. Now, before you dig through your coin jar and start panicking, don't worry. I've got all the details for you. So by the end of this video, you'll be armed with the knowledge you need to spot this penny and maybe even cash in. Let's jump into it. Okay, so here's the deal. In 1975, the US Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies. But here's where it gets interesting. Some of those pennies were accidentally struck without a mint mark. Now, you might be wondering, what's the big deal? Aren't all pennies the same? Not exactly. Normally, Pennies have a mint mark to show where they were made, either in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But in 1975, there was a tiny slip-up. Some of the pennies from the Philadelphia Mint didn't get that all-important P mint mark on them. These are the ones causing all the fuss. Why is this important? Well, coins without mint marks are rare, and rarity equals value in the coin world. That little missing letter turns a normal penny into a coin worth potentially thousands of dollars or more. The 1975 no mint mark penny is one of the most valuable coins you can find from that year. In fact, some of these pennies have sold at auction for upwards of $1 million. Crazy, right? Now, before you start looking at every penny you have with suspicion, let's get into what exactly makes one of these so valuable. First off, you need to make sure it's an authentic 1975 penny with no mint mark. It's easy to mistake a regular, worn penny for something rare, especially if you're not familiar with the details. The key thing to look for is the absence of a mint mark on the reverse side. That's it. But, and this is a big but, not every 1975 penny without a mint mark is worth millions. The coin has to be in exceptional condition. No scratches, no heavy wear, no discoloration. A penny in mint condition, graded at the highest levels, is the one that fetches that jaw-dropping price. The better the condition, the more money it can make you. A few years ago, a well-preserved 1975 no-mint mark penny sold for over $1.5 million at auction. Imagine finding that in your pocket change. I'd probably faint. Can you imagine buying a cup of coffee with it? Yeah, I'll pay with this rare penny and no, I'm not getting any change back. Well, I don't have one of these million-dollar pennies in my collection. And that's okay. I didn't either, until about 5 years ago. True story. Let me share it with you. A couple of years ago, I was going through an old coin jar I'd inherited from my grandma. It was just filled with random coins. Nothing fancy, just a bunch of loose change that I figured I'd keep as souvenirs. But one day, I pulled out a 1975 penny, and for some reason, I decided to look it up. And guess what? I thought I hit the jackpot. Turns out, it wasn't the rare version with no mint mark. It was just a regular 1975 penny, probably one I used to pay for a candy bar. So, after a slight moment of heartbreak and contemplating if I could still auction off my totally not valuable penny for at least a pack of gum, I realized something important. Research is key. Without that research, I could have missed out on a real gem. So, what have we learned today? The 1975 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is indeed worth potentially millions if you're lucky enough to have one in mint condition. But finding one, well, that's the hard part. If you've got a 1975 penny lying around, take a good look at it and check for the absence of the mint mark. And if you're ever at an estate sale or sorting through your grandpa's old coin collection, keep your eyes peeled for this rare find. Now, you might be wondering how to get started collecting valuable coins or learning more about other pennies that could make you a fortune. Well, I've got you covered. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because I'll be bringing you even more tips, tricks, and insider info about coins worth money. Who knows, your next coin could be worth a lot more than you think. What if I told you that a penny, yes, just a single penny, could make you a millionaire? No, I'm not joking. And no, it's not some rare 2,000-year-old Roman coin either. It's something from 1978. A penny that's missing one little thing. A mint mark. I know it sounds too good to be true, but stick with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this penny worth a fortune and how you can spot one hiding in your pocket change. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions or old jars of change, let's break it down. The 1978 penny is a relatively standard coin, right? I mean, it's the one you've probably seen a million times, with Abraham Lincoln's face staring back at you. But what if I told you that some of those pennies have a story to tell? One that could turn your everyday coin into a million-dollar treasure? Here's where things get interesting. The 1978 penny with no mint mark. You see, most pennies have a mint mark, a little letter that tells you where it was made. Most pennies have a D for Denver or a S for San Francisco. But the 1978 penny, well, some of them were made without any mint mark at all. And that missing mint mark? It's a game changer. Let me break it down further. In 1978, The Philadelphia Mint was cranking out pennies without putting their usual P mint mark on them. And somehow, these pennies ended up becoming rare. Over the years, collectors and numismatists, fancy word for coin experts, started realizing that this particular penny, with no mint mark, was more uncommon than they thought. The fact that this penny didn't have the mint mark made it a huge red flag for collectors who wanted to add something unique to their collections. Now, you might be asking, okay, that's cool, but how much could a penny like that really be worth? Well, I'm glad you asked. The value of a 1978 penny without a mint mark can range anywhere from a couple of $100 to, wait for it, $1 million. That's right, a million. But, and here's the kicker, there are a lot of factors that come into play when determining how much one of these rare pennies is really worth. We're talking about things like the coin's condition, its authenticity, and the level of demand from collectors. Let me take you back a bit. A few years ago, I was sorting through some old change I had lying around. I was just looking for some quarters to use for parking meters when I stumbled upon a 1978 penny. I didn't think much of it at first. I almost tossed it into my, just regular pennies, jar until I remembered a conversation I had overheard at a local coin shop. The dealer was talking about 1978 pennies and how they could be worth a pretty penny. Pun totally intended. So, I took a closer look, and guess what? It was a 1978 penny with no mint mark. I couldn't believe my luck. After doing some research, I realized this coin was worth more than I thought. I took it to a professional to have it authenticated, and sure enough, it was one of those rare, no mint mark varieties. While mine wasn't worth a million, it still fetched a nice little sum. So, what's the moral of the story here? If you're someone who loves to collect coins or just keeps old pennies for nostalgia's sake, you might want to start paying attention to those 1978s. You never know when you might come across a hidden gem. It's one of those things where you could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. And trust me, I know, the feeling when you realize you're holding on to $1 million penny is absolutely surreal. Alright, so now you're probably eyeing that pile of change on your desk and wondering if it's time to start looking for some missing mint mark pennies. Here's the deal. Keep your eyes peeled and always be on the lookout. You never know when a simple 1978 penny might turn into your ticket to a small fortune. If you're a coin collector or just someone who loves finding hidden treasures, this is only the beginning. There's so much more to discover out there. So, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more coin tips, tricks, and strategies that could turn your spare change into big bucks. Hit that subscribe button, and you'll be the first to know when I post more ways to find valuable coins that are sitting right under your nose. Thanks for watching and happy coin hunting, folks. Keep your change, and you might just change your life.